Hi! Hi, welcome back, guys. Very excited about today. Honestly. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to everybody who came. Oh my god. I feel like every time I start stream, my mind immediately starts blanking on everything I want to say, and I somehow just don't remember English. So I'm like, yeah! I don't know what happened. It's just like I'll be really excited. I have so much I want to say, and then the moment I turn the camera on myself, it's like, what is this? There's a few people that come in every now and then. That's fine. I'm doing this because I'm having fun. That's it. That's all that matters, is that we're enjoying our time here together. Oh, but I will say, I updated our nice little follower goals here because we finally hit it last stream. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Guys, oh my god. Hi. By the way, happy 222 today, which is a good thing. I don't remember what that is in numerology. I do want to search this up. I'm gonna let you guys see what I'm doing here because I'm actually gonna search this up because I'm mad curious now. What is 222 in numerology? Transition. So yeah, angel number. What's the angel number? Because now I'm curious. Oh, fortune and finances, relationships, and career, as well as a reminder to work towards one's sole purpose. So, if you have any sort of manifestations that you're really wanting to happen, today is a good day to try and do that for you guys. Which is actually what we're gonna do here today. Woo! We hit our follower goal. That means, God, I've never thought I'd actually be able to say like we hit a goal. Because I was like, I mean, I'd love to be able to do this more often. I thoroughly enjoy this. I have a lot of fun here with you guys. Love you guys. Oh, you know what? It's okay. I think there's also gonna be like what was the thing I saw on TikTok because it fucking shows up for me all the time. Like there's gonna be a new moon in Aquarius, I think. So if you've missed your chance on 222, you still have Saturday, the 24th, to still get in your manifestations. But overall, the year of 2024, in numerology, you add up like the individual digits. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4. Together, that makes 8. And 8, turn it on sideways, it's the infinity symbol. So what that normally means, if you get like 8 or like 888 or any sort of combination of 8, it usually means like infinite abundance. So overall, in general, this year is a great year to try to really go for your manifestations. Like obviously manifest whatever it is you want in life, try to like get to your highest self, try to vision yourself in a good life, the whole law of assumptions like, "Oh, I'm already doing the thing that I want to do." I mean, I'm technically doing it right now. But no, it's all about like imagining yourself in the best life possible and then working towards that, but also like overall having the universe kind of push you a little bit with that whole thing. If any of that makes any sort of sense, I know this is a weird rant to go on, but I really like going into like astrology, numerology. I love crystals. The only reason I know crystals so well is because I was a big fan of Steven Universe when it first came out. So, yeah, I watched Steven Universe. I ended up doing more research about the crystals and their meanings, as well as figuring out like birthstones and their general meanings and why it's important. But also why generally in December like the gemstone actually switches depending on what thing you're looking at. But for the rest of the 11 months, it's usually the same gemstones. It's just December that always somehow changes. This, call it like witch voodoo stuff like that. I just find it fascinating. And it's me going into like something that I find a lot of fun and also like fascinating. Like you don't have to buy into that stuff, but it's interesting to see what sort of things we like random things that we place importance on. Like Western astrology depends so much on the date you were born, or at least the date and time you were born. Because what was the thing? What was the thing? So obviously the general zodiac sign that you have depends on like the date you were born, and that changes every 30 days. Your moon sign, yeah, your moon sign is changes every 2.5 days. So really, dependent on what time you were born, it really changes your moon sign. Rising sign, especially the time you were born, dictates a lot. Your rising sign actually changes every 2 hours. Like that changes every 2 hours. So if you don't know what time you were born, you're you're never actually gonna know what your rising sign is. Yeah. And like what? Your your sun sign is technically who you are at the core of your being, what values you hold. Like that general thing, like why you act the way you do. Your moon sign is what how you think dark side of the moon. Not a lot of people are going to know about it except for you. It's how you handle emotions, how you react to things. And then your rising sign, think of that as like a mask of sorts. That's what you project out into the world. That's how other people view you. I really did go and did that. I went into research for this because I thought it was fascinating. But I can't tell you what Mercury and retrograde means. I'm not that deep. But yeah, no. Recently found out that like my sun is in my 10th house, which deals with career. So, what I, me as a person, based off like my natal chart, and I actually did this because somebody asked me about it, and I was like, I don't have this memorized off the top of my head. But yeah, no, my sun is in my 10th house, which deals with careers, and the general thing of my natal chart was like, oh, you're going to have a lot of trouble trying to do traditional office jobs. What would be best suited for you is to be an entrepreneur, do something that you're creating. And I was like, well, I'd love to be my own boss, creating my own schedule, doing something that I personally love, and then make money off of it. But like, that's not gonna work out as of right now. But it would explain why I had this really irrational fear ever since I was a kid of like working, like spending the rest of my life in a cubicle. I can't tell you why I had such a fear of like office jobs, but now, as you know, an adult, I've graduated college and I'm like attempting to try to make money and take care of myself. I have to go and do office jobs just to make enough money, and then I can go do cool stuff that I like to do, like this for example. So yeah, that's me. Anyway, I got sidetracked from that whole thing because fuck, I noticed the date. I love me getting sidetracked because I'm like, oh, let me talk about a hyperfixation I have, because it's definitely lasted for like at least a few months. Eventually, I'll probably get bored of it and move on to something else, but we'll see. But I wanted to do some housekeeping, obviously, because that has all to do with this right up here. Yeah, so we've hit 15 followers, which means we get to do a roller coaster TED Talk, which means I get to nerd out about something that I really like, and believe me, it's gonna be scuffed as hell. It's gonna be scuffed as hell, and I do not mind. I'm okay with letting you guys see how off, because I could not figure out how on earth I was gonna display this presentation for you guys while also making sure you could still see my face. So I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna do capture the whole thing, and you'll see everything. You will see everything. I don't mind. I don't mind. But anyway, 25 followers is the roller coaster TED Talk. We get to nerd out about Space Mountain. God, I did this. I made this presentation during my last semester of college. So yeah, 20 beginning of 2023. The main reason I made this is because yeah, I was in mechanics class, right? Our teacher was like, "Here, for your final project, you had to make a presentation about anything involving physics or like engineering, just something like that, and you had to go into like the science behind how everything worked." My first semester, which was what, fall 2022, I did a presentation on animatronics. I ended up using a lot of FNAF pictures because I'm like, I don't know how else to make this very clear for you guys. But here, FNAF has a lot of pictures. I can use this. Obviously, I could use real life examples, but like the inside, you don't really get to see as much. And I think the best way of showing this is FNAF. And then I ended it on a thank you FNAF picture, which what Scott Coffin made before announcing FNAF World. So I was essentially trolling everybody for that one. This one was more serious. This one was more serious because I was like, I'm dying to talk about Disney projects. I haven't done it in so long. I will force you guys to listen to this. I have a captive audience. I can do it. So that was my thought process. So I was like, here, roller coasters. I think they're cool. I yeah, no. When I was in high school, I kind of dabbled with the idea of becoming a roller coaster engineer. And then, you know, life plans fall apart. So that's where we are now. But anyway, 15 followers we're doing our TED Talk. That's happening today. Okay, at 25 followers, which I did update the goal. I did update the goal. That's 8 followers away. Very excited for when that happens. It's gonna be a reality. Do this. But yeah, 25 followers. We're actually going to be customizing a Funko Pop I own. So I guess a bit of backstory for you guys. I made this Funko Pop at FAO Schwartz because they had their own like build your own Funko Pop thing. It's cute for what it is, but it's kind of plain. I want to like zhuzh it up a little just to really make it feel customized. And I'm like, I watch a lot of doll repaints and like doll customizer videos, and I'm like, it can't be that hard, right? I would have more surface with the Funko Pop than I would with a doll. But also, I need to be like very specified with those details. But I have metallic paint that I had left over from when I decorated my cap for graduation. So I was like, I can just use this metallic paint, make a little design on like the body of the Funko Pop. I have a little item with it. It's like a cute little book. I want to customize that a little bit more. I'm changing some of the stuff I had on there because I'm like didn't have a lot of options for a customizing thing, but we can work with that. We can work with that. It was still in like its beginning stages, so I'm like I understand it didn't have a lot of stuff to really make it like feel as customized as possible versus, the whole pop yourself thing that Funko is doing now. But I want to do that. That costs more money than me just taking out paint and just doing whatever the hell I want on there. So that's at 25 followers. At 35 followers, we're going to do a Hogwarts house quiz. I'm going to be taking the Pottermore Hogwarts house quiz just cuz okay, real talk with you guys, I've been having a bit of an identity crisis with that cuz like majority of my life I identified as Slytherin, and like every time I would retake I would retake those quizzes because like BuzzFeed also has a Hogwarts house quiz where it's like the different percentages for each of the houses in like a ranking from where you're most likely to get into the least likely. I would take those quizzes over and over and over again for like several years in between to see if I ever changed. but I never did until now. Within this past year after taking it, my Hogwarts house has changed. So I'm like, am I the thing that I've identified with for so long? Even bought I bought a Slytherin scarf from when I saw Cursed Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Yeah. Yeah, I have a Slytherin scarf. I bought merch for Slytherin when I still heavily identified as Slytherin. But now it's saying I'm Ravenclaw, and I'm like, well, I don't mind that. My favorite color is blue. And I'm like, I I mostly own a lot of blue stuff, but also like I am extremely nerdy, but the reason I identified as Slytherin so much is because I had big dreams. I was very ambitious. And I was like, why on earth would I put in more work into doing something when I could easily find like a different way? Like, I'm gonna find the easiest way of doing stuff for me. Like, yeah, I was in gifted kid programs from like, what, age 7 until like now? Dude, I took 7 APs in high school. Like, I APs, if you didn't know, they're advanced placement classes, which if you do well on those tests at the end of the year, you could actually turn it into college credit, which is what I did for at least 2 of the classes I did. The rest I was like, I only took it cuz I needed the credits. But yeah, no, I was considered a gifted kid when I could actually focus on my work. If I couldn't focus, I was like, I don't care about this, so I'm not gonna try. But yeah, I was like, I know I'm really nerdy, but I don't want to do all the work they're telling me to do. I'm gonna find the easiest way possible for me to still do it. This is how I ended up getting the grades I did. Like, I considered myself to be a very average student going into college. So I was like, yeah, I'm a solid AB student. My average scores are like a 90 to 95. Occasionally I'll like get 100, or maybe I'll get like, I don't know, uh like extra credit of some sort because I was like, oh, I know how to do this. This is not hard at all. And it would mostly happen with mathematics. So I'm like, oh yeah, geometry. I hated geometry, but I like got a. I think the score I ended up with was like, yeah, my final grade was a 90. I think I also got like a like 90 to 95 on that final because I was like, it's fine. Oh my god. Pre-algebra was the easiest class ever for me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do AP Calculus BC purely because I knew that they would be end up doing Calculus the musical. It's not because I was like, oh yeah, I really like math and I'm gonna do the hardest math possible in order to get college credits. I was like, no, no, no. I'm gonna take this class because I know for a fact I could do a musical theater like moment. I wasn't even a lead. I just did it. Um, oh no, I actually have a weird story about that, but I'm gonna tell you about that later. But yeah, this is the general reason why I would love to take the Hogwarts house quiz. We're gonna find out together what my official Hogwarts house is gonna be. But then, because, BuzzFeed, you can retake those quizzes as many times as you want, I'm gonna let chat do their quiz. So overall, if there's gonna be multiple of you in this chat, y'all have to like communicate, all right? Communication is key in any relationship, all right? Please talk to each other to figure out what your choices are going to be. 'Cause it's going to be a collective quiz for y'all. After I do mine, it's a collective quiz for y'all. So be prepared for that at 35 followers. I'm speeding. I'm speeding now. Okay. At 45 followers, I do have a Lego building stream. I did already do like a sort of knockoff Lego building stream where I built like like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a translucent phoenix together. I did that Valentine's Day because the original plan I had, which was to do a painting stream. Yeah, no, the paints ended up being the paints were dried out. I could not revive the paints. So I had to scrap that and I'm like, okay, let's just build. Here we go. I had this separate thing. But yeah, 45 followers, we're doing a Lego building stream. I have a little baggie that I got from a friend as a graduation gift of a Star Wars X-Wing fighter. Fight? Right? I think those are the words that you used to describe it. Man, I was a Star Wars fan, so it's a little embarrassing that I don't remember the name of this thing, at least on my end. But also like I don't I watched the movies. I have not watched the shows, and I kind of fell off after the last like Star Wars movie. So I was like, okay, I'm not invested in this romance as much as they want me to be. So, yeah, no, I was out of it, but I do still collect. I collect Star Wars Funko Pops because I really like the design of them. Personally really like the design of the retro Star Wars Funko Pop series that they've been doing. Like that wave is really pretty and it's based off of actual Star Wars comic pictures, like comic covers. And then they somehow turn it into the Funko Pop itself so you can have it in a 3D space. I think that's cool, so that's what I usually collect. Wait, I also have Valentine's Day Funko Pops. I posted those on Instagram and TikTok because I have to share it. It was really cute. Like the bases of those Valentine's Day pops have little puns. Like for what? Ray it says you're my ray of hope. Yoda is mine will you be? Question mark. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi was the funniest line there for the Valentine's Day pops. So I'm like, it's not even a pun on his name. And it's not even like a flirtatious thing. It literally just says, hello there! Exclamation point. I was like, dude, go to bed. Take care of yourself first. You don't have to do this. The VOD will still be here. And if it's not here over on Twitch, it should be over on Instagram. Not Instagram, YouTube. Go to bed. Please take care of yourself first. Don't worry about me. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah. Oh, and then 50 followers. Chat gets to decide what we do for stream. Anyway, I'm gonna try to rush this a little bit. Okay, let's go, gamers. Let's do this. Anyway, fuck, that's not what I want. Here we go. This is gonna be fun. Hello, hello, hello. Oh yeah, the YouTube should be linked in my bio. So if you want to go watch this VOD there, it's fine. Yeah, check my bio because I don't have this memorized off the top of my head. But also, it's over here. I'm gonna show you guys my thing. It's fine. We're gonna go through this whole thing. I'll watch you later, Patty. Here we go. I'm gonna put this in chat now. I'm gonna go put this over in chat. I love how you can see how scuffed this is. But here you go. Here's the link. You can go watch that. But anyway, I'm gonna continue with this. But God, I really, really wish I knew how to pronounce your username. Please go to bed. Please take care of yourself. Please, like, the internet is forever. You can always come back to this. It's fine. I'd rather you take care of yourself first than to prioritize, like, watching me nerd out about something. So I'm like, you need to take care of yourself first. You don't need all right. You really don't want to like watch this. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Please go to bed. If it's really late for you, please go to bed. Please take care of yourself. You are so much more important than like silly little internet things. All right? Prioritize you first. All right? Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I hope you guys can see that. I assume you guys will be able to see that. Actually, I can check right now. Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! I've done it. I'm not that much of an idiot. Yes. Yes. I've checked out the stream. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you directly. All right. Bye. Please go to bed. Please take care of yourself. Right. We love you here. Please. All right. Go. Thank you. God, your emotes are so freaking cute. I would love to see that turned into a plush one day. Actually, looking at that pattern, it wouldn't be too hard to make a plush of that. I mean, you just gotta get the right materials, plan it out, you can figure out what you'd use for the stuffing. But like, hmm, ideal for next time. But anyway, let's talk. Yeah, this was the original title. I'm not going to like change it, but I did change the fact that you can now only see my nickname. I'm never showing you my full name. I don't feel comfortable with showing you my full name. Anyway, physics and roller coasters. If you look at the picture behind you, it's actually Coney, the cyclone from Coney Island. I didn't take this picture, but I did go on this. It's actually really fun. So, if you ever get a chance to go to Coney Island, you can ride the cyclone for $10. They'll give you like a cute little, it's not really a ticket. It's like a cute little like paper card, and then you'll show it to the person who's operating that day, and then you'll just be able to go and sit in. It's best to have someone who's like smaller than you or at least weighs less than you on the inside, because with the way the turns go, you're going to be pushing into them a lot more for people sitting on in the inside. So, that's also what they recommend doing when you actually go into the cyclone. But yeah, a lot of it is just woo, ups and downs, and we actually are going to talk about how they do this. So, here is the content, because I I was actually a decent student and I can make a damn good PowerPoint presentation. Do I remember how I did this presentation in college? Absolutely not. Even though it's been a year, I do not remember. But I remember I was so excited to share this. By the way, we're going to get into how roller coasters are built. These are like the general physics concepts that you would actually need to like keep track of when you are thinking about building a roller coaster. So, what? For engineers, one of the first few projects that you'll see, especially online, is them trying to construct what a roller coaster would look like and then have it be with, like, actually have something on it to see if it would actually work. So, obviously, you would need to understand what conservation of energy is in terms of that. Obviously, understand how gravity is going to be working as you're building this roller coaster, how your passengers are going to feel gravity, but also how do you use gravity to your advantage? Understand what inertia is and how you can also use that to your advantage. G force, what the passengers will feel as they're riding the roller coaster. Understanding friction to like make sure that the ride runs as smooth as possible, because obviously this is real life. You're not going to have as smooth of a track ride when you do like the wheels against like whatever your track is made of. So you do have to account for how much friction you're going to be getting as you're moving the cart along on the tracks, and how much um fuck, like the wheels in general, or at least how those carts are going to be moving on the track. Your best bet is try to minimize as much friction as possible, but we'll get more into that. And then last but not least, the actual engineering of roller coasters. It's going to go into lift systems, which is how you launch carts and how you start moving a roller coaster, like moving the carts on the roller coaster. That's like the beginning part of the ride when you're first getting in and like everything's setting up. I'm going to show you the different systems of how that's done. And then obviously, once the rides end, how do you stop it? How do you do it? So we're going to talk into brake systems for roller coasters. And then of course, I can't just talk about theory the entire time. No, 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 no. We need to understand how that all of that comes together in the real world. I I chose Space Mountain because I think it's a really cool thing. Having a roller coaster completely inside and in the dark. How on earth does that work? How did the engineers figure out how to do this such a fast-paced roller coaster? Something that is a lot of fun for people who have been on the ride. How do you make that work in a confined space while also getting like the intention what you wanted to get out of the ride? But obviously, there isn't just one Space Mountain. There's multiple Space Mountains amongst all of the Disney parks. So we're going to get into the general theming of those Space Mountains around the world because they do change depending on where you go. I'll explain. Ooh, I'll explain why later. First, we're going to talk about conservation of energy. Energy. How are roller coasters built? That's a great question, isn't it? Like, how on earth does one go about thinking, yeah, I'm gonna build this thing that's supposed to be a lot of fun? Like, how on earth do you get from the concept to the thing? Well, first, let's understand the general concepts of, roller coasters. First, you have to understand what conservation of energy is. For roller coasters specifically, the general thing that you'll notice a lot of roller coasters do is that they'll have really high peaks at the beginning and then eventually those giant ass drops that feel like your stomach is just being like that pit in your stomach it just grows more and more as you get higher and higher. All of a sudden you drop, you feel like what? Your heart races. It drops. Those are scary when you're in them, but they're actually really important for this concept in particular. So, you start off with big amounts of potential energy when you're riding up on the hills that eventually turn into kinetic energy when you do those big drops. And that actually enables the cart to push forward on the tracks. It's essentially just how do you use gravity in the best way possible to keep your cart going. So, I obviously have the little conservation of energy thing. Initial energy has to be equal to final energy. So, the general thing about this is if you have a really high peak, you're gonna be able to go faster on those drops. And that's the whole point of it. Here, we're going to talk about. Oh, oh. Here, it's just how on earth do you keep the cart moving across the rails after that big drop? Well, it's using inertia. This keeps the passengers in their seats and keeps the cart moving. Newton's first law of motion says that it will keep moving forward. Keep moving at a forward velocity even when you go on hills. So, the general thing about inertia is that it's the first law, right? An object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. So, ugh, I'm so nerdy. But yeah, the general thing is if you understand how inertia works, you can keep carts going. Once you have that initial drop, you're going to have a lot of inertia built up. So you'll be able to keep pushing it without having any sort of like support systems to keep your tracks, like your cart moving across the rails. It's just going to keep going. Yeah. So on a loop, inertia produces an acceleration force that keeps the passengers in their seats. It's essentially just saying when you're in a loop, the inertia is making sure you stay in your seat. It's going to push against you so that you stay in your seat, but gravity is going to pull you to like get out of your seat. That's why you feel more of a like that weird sort of why am I sinking so like more into my seat when I'm at the top? That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's inertia. So there's a nice little graphic right there that actually shows. Heh. So this is G-force. G-force. It's not the same thing as gravity. surprisingly. And it's also not about that weird G Force movie with all the gerbils and hamsters. No, no, no. It's a scientific term, actually. So, G Force only really applies for when you're talking about loops, right? So, G Force, bleh, Verno Stiegel. Oh, I fucking forgot how to pronounce his name. I'm so sorry. So, this is the guy that designed the full 360 vertical loops. You know how when you like see a roller coaster and it has a loop that goes straight up and down? This is the guy that invented it. He designed the loop to have a smaller, like, curve on the top, so the speed slows down and allows the riders to stay in their seat when they're upside down. But also, it feels like it takes a lot longer when you're up there because you're like going against gravity. So you're like, you need to slow down because if you go too fast, ooh, you're gonna pass out. So yeah, loops are designed to keep people from passing out due to too much g-force from the ride by slowing down the speed. It generally just helps you try to stay awake on there and it makes sure that you can stay in your seat and still enjoy the ride. That's how it is. Obviously, friction, because it's not a perfect system, it's an imperfect system, it's reality. The general thing is obviously you just need to minimize friction just to have a smoother and faster ride. But all of the energy that you built up from that drop at the beginning, it's going to be lost. It's not going to be like a perfect sort of energy conservation. You're losing some of that energy due to friction. But when you want to slow down the roller coaster, the cart on there, friction is a great thing to remember because it also helps slows it down. So here is what the ride look like the cyclone looks like as you're going up. There's a lot of types of lift systems. We're gonna go to each and every one. The first type is like the most traditional way of getting carts on a roller coaster to move up a hill. It's the chain system. It, as you can see, it resembles a long bike chain or a conveyor belt. It usually just has something. It's there for like the bottom of the cart to clip onto and sort of like push it upwards as it's like going along with the motor. And then eventually it'll clip itself off and you'll be on your way. Yeah. Then we get into catapult launch systems. There's 6 different types. This is the second way, I think. Yeah, this is the second way of like how you lift a cart. Mm. I'm out of breath, man. So I'm like, I'm also slouching while doing this, but also I'm like, words, English. Oh, heart beating real fast. Really should be careful whenever I drink caffeine. It doesn't bode well for me a lot of the times. But yeah, here are the 6 different types of catapult launch systems. So obviously, catapult, you pull something back far enough, and then it'll zoom forward. That's the general idea of when we're talking about this. So there's electromag systems. It's just using electromagnetic the electromagnets that store a lot of electricity. So then that sort of electricity finds a way to like push the cart forward so it's really fast. Then you have hydraulic launch systems. It's just using pumps filled of hydraulic liquid and nitrogen, several launch cables, and an engine. It's kind of the same thing for when you talk about like obviously God, what is the word I'm looking for? Animatronics. Like how you like get humanoid animatronics that move arms so smoothly. It's hydraulic pumps. And this is generally using the same thing. This time it's just an engine doing like a larger engine pushing it in. Pneumatic launch systems. If you're going to talk about hydraulic, you have to talk about pneumatic in the same thing. It's the same damn thing, just one uses liquid and one uses air. But the general thing is a lot of pressure, small space. Keep building up the pressure until eventually it moves forward. It's I think the same type of like thing happens with like when you launch a gun. It's just a buildup of a lot of pressure in a small space till eventually, you know. Uh, number 4 is the flywheel systems. It's literally just a giant wheel. It's a large flywheel attached to the cable, and it rotates really quickly. and it just once it rotates, it eventually launches the cart forward. So you rotate a giant wheel as far enough as you can. That cable goes off, stretches as much as possible on this, and then let go so that it catapults it forward. The general catapult system, which you don't really see a lot, but it's also really interesting. It's generally, well, obviously, we know how catapults work. You drop a weight off to the side, and you're winding up the cable as you do so, and then it pushes the train to max speed. And then, surprisingly enough, friction wheels are also a type of catapult launch system. So, friction wheels are when you use a motorized wheel that either keeps the train's speed or moves it faster using the friction between the wheels and the train. It's fascinating how it's done. And then the general, there's literally only two types of brake systems, and it literally just says trim brakes. It just slows down the carts, so then it's like, okay, eh, like it's not like a sudden, no. It slows down carts, so then you're just kind of like slowly but smoothly easing along to a stop. And then there's block brakes, which literally just stop it out of nowhere, so you feel that momentum still pushing up, so you're gonna go whoop. You move forward, and then you hit your head on the back of the hit your head or hit the back on the back of the cart or whatever the thing the roller coaster is. I mean, it's a lot. That sudden stop is like going to hurt, but that's one of the ways you stop it. Ah, you get to my favorite part. Let's talk about Space Mountain. Okay, you'll see so far that I have generally had to keep very scientific for the first part because again, this was for a class in college. But we're gonna get into more fun stuff now that we get into the real life applications. So Space Mountain is still Space Mountain in Magic Kingdom. Obviously, yeah, no, I had to be scientific. So I'm like, it takes advantage of the conservation of energy and centripetal acceleration, which literally just means acceleration in a circle. So speed in a circle. But it's on a horizontal plane rather than a vertical plane. So it's like left and right instead of up and down. Tracks are built in a spiral going downward. So you have high initial speed and then account for gravity. It just means that you're going to get a faster ride as you go down the thing. They made sure that there's little to no friction between the cart and the rail, and energy is lost to friction as the ride goes on. So eventually, it's gonna slow down. all right, all right. We're getting out of the scientific thing soon. I swear. But the ride's dome diameter is actually 300 feet. It's huge. And the steepest drop, which is the initial drop, is actually 39 degrees. When you think about it, like 90 degrees is this, 39 degrees is like that. Like there's barely anything. It just goes whoop. So it's scary. 39 degrees is either going this way or going this way, so it's 39 that way. Yeah, but it's a steep drop where it's like, oh, that's happening. Yeah, it's obviously considered Disney's fastest ride. It was revamped in 2009 so that it's faster. I don't remember in my research what the time used to be, but now it's like 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And there's actually two different tracks that you can get on in the Magic Kingdom ride, the Alpha track and the Omega track. Fun fact, Alpha and Omega literally just means beginning and end. Alpha is the first letter of the Greek alphabet and Omega is the last letter. Because of course I know this. How do I know this? Of course I know this because you see more Greek alphabet letters than actual numbers. You see more symbols than anything else when it gets into actual physics theory. That's what my degree is in. It's insane. But yeah, the alpha track is actually longer than the omega track. We're having fun now. We get to have fun now. We're going to Disneyland. We were in Florida. Now we're going into California. So, Space Mountain in Disneyland is just the same as it was in like Magic Kingdom Disney World. When it first opened in 1997. No, 1977. Oh my god, I can't read. But because what? California has less space than Florida actually. So Disney World is much bigger than Disneyland. So any of the rides that came from Disney World, when translated over to Disneyland, it's actually going to be smaller. It's still generally like the same concept, same ride. It's just smaller. Now, a fun fact about Disneyland versus Disney World. The Disneyland Space Mountain actually has changed its theming over the years. In 2006, that was supposed to say Rocking Space Mountain. I can't type or read. But yeah, 2006 it became Rocking Space Mountain. So come on, they changed out the music, like the original music to be like a rock and roll thing. And that so yeah, yeah, no, they generally just changed out the music for Space Mountain into rock and roll music. Can't tell you why, but that's what they did. Then, Halloween 2009, we're gonna make it Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy. It's usually just projections. Like, the theming on the inside is what changed for Disneyland. It's just projections of ghosts everywhere, but it's still the same ride. And then, finally, 2015, Hyperspace Mountain. Now that for that one, actually, they have like a tunnel. Again, I'm purely basing this off of research I've done. I've not actually been on any of these. So, if you have pictures or if you've been on it, please let me know. I'd love to know more about it. One day, sang araw, I will be able to go and do this and actually experience it for myself. But for now, we're gonna fantasize and dream and watch videos because I haven't been to Disney in a long time. I've only been to Disney once and it changed me forever. Oh man, I went to Disney when I was in fifth grade. I don't even remember what year that is. Yeah, spring vacation. Yeah, spring break, fifth grade, and God, we also went to Universal for one day, and I genuinely cannot remember when this happened. But this whole thing changed me forever. But I also Hyperspace Mountain, they have like lights where it seems like you're going into hyperspace, like they do in oh my God, Star Wars. I blanked out on that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, they changed it to space to like Star Wars theme in 2015. Yeah, okay. Now we move on. Why did I drink soda today? It's not doing well for me. I'm having heart palpitations from this. Not having fun there. Oh yeah, so we're going to Hong Kong Disneyland. Yay. So, Hong Kong Disneyland, obviously, the first thing it did have was like the General Space Mountain. But what? Their version of Tomorrowland is far different than our version. Because I'm like, if you go to Asian countries in general, they're already light years ahead of anything the US has done in terms of technology. So I'm like, you can't really have a whole theme of like space and the future if they're already doing it. So like, yeah, that's why their Space Mountain is far different from ours. But it is same ride. So I've said here, as part of the haunted Halloween event that ran from 2007 to 2013, the ride got an overlay called Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy. Again, it's the same thing with just now you have ghosts. You just have projections of ghosts over it. That's it. It's the same thing. It's just ooh, scary ghosts. So you're leaning away from sci-fi and more into supernatural territory. But now it's themed after Star Wars for the 10th anniversary celebration, and it's called Hyperspace Mountain. Yeah, the same thing that happened with Disneyland. What? It includes a hyperspeed tunnel. The tunnel is literally just looks like you're going into hyperspeed. It's literally just what? You know how whenever they do we're going into hyperspeed in Star Wars, that's what the tunnel looks like. It's literally just like mostly white lines, so it looks like you're about to zoom. but you're just walking past. That's it. That's the whole tunnel. There is a smaller boarding area in Hong Kong than they have in this Magic Kingdom one. And then what? There's colored neon light bars for the queue. So yeah, when you see it, it's literally just lines, like really. There's just colored light, like lines of light when you're on the queue. That's it. We don't have that here for some reason. It's weird. Anyway, I'm so out of breath. I'm so sorry. Anyway, Tokyo Space Mountain. Yeah, so when it first opened, Tokyo Disneyland, it was what, 1983, and then 1983 to 2006, it was the same replica as the California version. Then 2007 to now, sci-fi elements, yeah, the hyperspeed tunnel at the end of the attraction, it literally ended up just being an overlay of let's make Star Wars but Space Mountain. But new news from Disney is that it's actually closing the Tokyo Space Mountain in July of 2024 and it's going to be open in 3 years, so 2027. And the entire land is going to. No. What is the word I'm looking for? Oh my god. The entire land is actually just going to get like an update. So, enhanced performance, immersive special effects. You will generally feel like you are a part of Space Mountain and you're actually going through it. It's just gonna be better technical like advances. That's it. That's the general thing. Oh, Disneyland Paris is the main one I wanted to talk about because Disneyland Paris had a very specified theme when it first opened. It was originally themed after Jules Verne's From the Earth to the Moon. That was the story they went with. So, you're in a rocket ship and you're going to be launched into the moon. And they had like the music from that short film too. Not short film. Yeah, the music from that film. So that's why it looks the way it does in this picture. But that was the original theme. It had a steampunk aesthetic that appealed to European audiences. Just because of the fact it's like, oh, it's Disneyland Paris and Europe in general, it had to find a way to appeal to that audience. So for some reason they're like, yes, Europeans, they like steampunk. That's what we're gonna go with. I don't know, but I this picture is really cool because it is the most stylized Space Mountain out of all of them from the outside, and then had a story based off of something that came from that country, right? Jules Verne's was French, I believe. Yeah, yeah, but it took something that was already part of the culture and turned it into a ride. But just it's the same mechanics as the regular Space Mountain. But, now it's just Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. But fun track. Fun fact. It's the only Space Mountain that includes inversions and a launch and a section of the track that exists to exit and re-enter the dome. And then a synchronized onboard audio track. So yeah, it actually has inversions is where you go upside down, an actual launch sequence versus you just immediately going in. And there's the section of the track that actually goes out and goes back in. So you actually get to see the outside world, say hello, and just be like, haha, look at me, I'm having fun. Yeah, and it is currently the largest space mountain. Here's the fun fact. Here's another fun fact that I didn't know. That's why I also said sorry on here. But Shanghai Disneyland is the only Disney park that doesn't have its own version of Space Mountain. It's apparently, when you do research on this, it's due to political reasons, but they're not publicly specified anywhere that can be easily found. So, for some reason, Shanghai was like, no, 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 no. We don't want space. Oh, yeah, those are my references. And here's thank you. That's it. That is it. So, what we're going to do, you can see everything I'm doing here. And I don't mind. I don't. Or not. Now you can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, that's it. That was my general thing. Cause yeah, no, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed that because I had a lot of fun making that. I had a lot of fun researching it because I love like Disney in general. Again, I'm a Disney adult, but I'm not in your face about it. So the reason why I'm a Disney adult is not because of the films. I do enjoy a lot of the films, but I'm a Disney adult because I find Disney Imagineers to be some of the coolest people ever. Like Space Mountain, obviously. They came up with an idea to do this, right? And they had it in the first Disney park that ever was made, Disney World. Then they found a way to translate that ride and that entire park into multiple different parks around the world that would make sense for not only the theming of the land that it was going to be in, but also to make sense for the culture of where it was going to be. And then they also had resorts that, like, here's the culture that we're trying to do. Here's what the story that we want to say with this place. And then they found a way to do it. I I find that fascinating. Oh god. Oh god. I got a notification from a friend. And honest, oh, I made a TikTok about this and I posted it on Instagram too. But like, guys, so it's officially been 5 years since I graduated high school, right? I'm not where I would like to be in life, but I'm making strides to do something that makes me happy. Hence why we're here today. Oh my god. Whew. Yeah, but like that's why we're here today. I did not realize how much fun it would be to stream and to like build a personal connection with an audience like this. I did not know this was a thing. Obviously, this wasn't much of a thing when I was younger. If you wanted to do like content, you would do YouTube. But back then, it wasn't even like an option to really. Well, no, we saw people pursue it, and we saw people had make careers off of YouTube. But it's also like, oh, it's like, it's a silly little thing. It's a silly little thing. But yeah, no, that's a thing. But oh my god, I'm officially 5 years out of high school, not where like not where I wanted to be, not where I thought I'd be, but we're making strides to do something with our lives. The general thing I remember, and like I still believe this, like the general thing is like, what is the legacy I want to leave on this earth? The general thing is like, I want to remembered, I want to be remembered that I was loved. That's it. I was loved. I was a good friend. I was, or at least I tried to be a good daughter. Who knows in the future, like, oh, I tried to be a good wife. I tried to be a good mother. But the general thing is, I want to be remembered as somebody who loved. That's it. That's my whole thing. I, that's my, that's the legacy I want to leave in this world. Like, yes, I wanted to change the world. And I was like, I don't think, like, the general things that'll make things easier for everybody's lives is gonna be something big that I do by myself. It's gonna take a whole generation or two to keep moving us towards like real progress. But the general thing that I wanted personally out of life is just I want to know that I made people's lives better simply by being in it or simply just giving them the space that they needed when yeah, giving people a space that they needed for when you know you just have difficult times. I wanted to make sure that people felt loved. That's how I wanted to be remembered in life. I hope I've done that. But yeah, I have a high school reunion coming up. 5 years, and it's not really just my like class that is going. It's just general classes who have graduated. They're all getting together and you know, seeing how everybody's done and all that. And I was like, okay, cool. That's an interesting thing. And it really got me thinking of just God, what have I done with my life since I graduated high school? 5 years is not a long time to really have, you know, accomplished a lot. But you I feel like I have accomplished something. I graduated college. I gotta give myself a pat on the back for that. I did that. I got a Bachelor of Science in Physics. Now, as useless as a degree it is, at least I've done it. I can confidently say I have it. I put in the work to do that. I can't say much else. What I've done this, and I'm very proud of this, and I love this stream, this being streaming, obviously. I love the fact that what we've grown in this community. I hope for us to continue to grow. I hope that everybody here feels loved, seen, heard, whatever it is you'd like to say. You're doing it from a respectful place, and you're doing it without any sort of malice in your heart. I'd love to continue that growth with you, but like I I can't wrap my mind around the fact that like, oh yeah, it's been 5 years. What have I done? I I don't know. It's a weird thing. God, I have a lot of stories from high school that I'm not sure if I've shared with some of you guys. I know I have shared some friend stories that now have led to some alienation from both parts. I do genuinely wish those people well, but also when I think about it, I do still feel hurt by what they've done. Cuz like if they were real friends, if they did genuinely care, they would not have done the things that they did. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Guys, I don't know, man. I like genuinely feel like I'm going insane thinking about this cuz I'm like it'd be fun to get dressed up and see everybody that I went to high school with and just see how they're doing. Catch up with some old friends that I wasn't able to keep up with. Generally figure out like, "Oh, hey, you were someone I went to class with that I didn't talk to as much, but I thought you were really cool." And we were generally pretty friendly. How are you doing now? Like, I'd love to go, but I also don't want to pay $125 for a ticket to attend. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be fun to dress up and see everybody again. But also, like, I the people that I wanted to keep up with, I genuinely, like, generally did. Like, my friend group that I made in high school, I do still talk to a lot of those people in there. So I'm like, I don't really have a need to go. I'm like, if I liked you in high school, I probably follow you over on Instagram. So if I want to know what you're doing, I could just check your stories, check your posts. Everybody else, I'm like, it's fine. I mean, I, I don't know. My mind is like, I can't wrap my head around that. I don't know. Okay, not gonna lie, guys, I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna play some music for you, and you're gonna watch that screen just for a bit. Just for a bit, just for a bit. Okay, I'm back. I'm turning off the music again. Whew. Oh, and here's something I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, hmm, yeah. So I've mentioned at the beginning of the stream that I do have a really strange fear of working in an office. I don't like the idea of like doing traditional like office work, but I have some experience in doing traditional office work. I also have experience working in fast food. I have experience in retail. So I've done a lot of odd jobs. And they've mostly been during the summer, but like I've applied for an part-time office job. Have an interview tomorrow, so hope that goes well. It is gonna be it's gonna help out a lot, honestly. So I really want this to go well. But if I get this, I don't know how streams are gonna look like on Wednesdays because it's part-time job Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it gets really late at night, and I'm like I don't know if I'm still gonna be able to stream Wednesdays, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll find a way to work around it. If I don't stream Wednesdays, I'll probably end up making it up sometime over the weekend if I can, and if not, it generally what Thursday, Friday will always be consistent. That's my main promise to you guys. No. Sorry, this whole like reunion thing has thrown me off for a bit. And I'm just like, oh, oh, this is not. I thought that reunions would have happened at like 10 years. So I'm like, what? I graduated from high school 2019. So what? 2029. I thought 2029. Nope. 5 years. Like I do genuinely wonder what people have done with their lives since then, but I'm like, eh. So have been going a little insane about that. God, I feel like I was gonna talk about something here, and I cannot remember what it is. I love when I can't remember when I want to do stuff. Oof. Just okay, okay. Let me look, because I started chatting about. Oh my god, I started chatting about Hogwarts. My Hogwarts house at the beginning, right? Where I'm like, oh yeah, I've heavily identified as Slytherin. I was very ambitious as a child. Um, and I was like, I I want to build rockets. I no, my first general, my first general thing of what I wanted to do as a kid. Okay, middle school. My mother told me that she was gonna, no, she wanted to become a lawyer, but it didn't happen. And I was like, well, I'm extremely argumentative, according to my parents. I could be a lawyer. So that's what I said I wanted to do. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to fulfill my mom's dream of being a lawyer. That that was it. Then what? Eighth grade, I had a physics class, like an intro to physics class. That was the science class I had eighth grade. And I was like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. I really like this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be an engineer. And I was like, yeah, I've always been fascinated with how things are built. I like I like knowing the theory behind it. And I'm like, physics was fucking easy for me. Like those were the easiest like easiest hundreds I ever got in a class. That was intro to physics. Yeah. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I want. And then what? Went to high school. High school is where things started to shift for me just a little bit. Where I'm like, yeah, I wanted to do engineering. Did not know what type of engineering I wanted to do. And like I in general, I still wanted to have fun. I did not like the idea of working in an office forever. I do remember when I was younger. God, I when I was younger, I thought of the idea of doing content creation. I had played around with the idea so much, but I'm like, I always came to a point where I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do it. Or oh, I'm not gonna have the time because between school and like family obligations involving church stuff, it took up so much of my time. I did not. I also was like, oh, I don't really have the means of doing it. Like, I made a lot of excuses for myself to not do content creation, even though it was something that I found fascinating and I would really wanted to do. And then, what all the people in my life, especially my parents, were like, oh, anything involving the arts or like anything creative, you're not really gonna make a living off of. So it was more or less like I wanted to do this, but everyone is telling me I shouldn't do it because I had to be rational. I'm like, okay, fine. I guess this will just be a hobby thing, something that I'll think about for years to come, but it was just never gonna happen. Sophomore year was the year that I was like, oof, oof. So sophomore year, I took AP World History and AP Physics 1. You did AP Physics 1 because it was a stepping stone to AP Physics C, which is what you needed for getting started in the engineering sort of college credits type thing. Because again, AP, advanced basic classes, would count towards college credit if you did well in them. And I struggled so much with doing two APs when I was like 15, 16. Damn. It was like, it's not that the work was hard. It's just, I could not find the time to do some of my work for AP World History because my parents would be dragging me around to do a bunch of church stuff. Didn't have like Wi-Fi service, so how on earth am I gonna do online homework? Like, how on earth am I supposed to do this if I don't have the thing that shows me what I need to do or give me access for the thing I need to do? So, couldn't do that. And then AP Physics 1, my God, AP Physics 1, that was a weird class because I'm like, I had this teacher before as my chemistry teacher. Chemistry teacher. Not my homeroom teacher, just chemistry teacher. And I was like, I like this teacher. I know this teacher likes me. We're both Filipino. So I can have conversations with them in Tagalog. And like, nobody else would be able to understand but us. I had a huge admiration for them too. But what was the thing? Like, that teacher was never really there and never really taught us because they were more focused on helping out science research students. So science research was kind of it was a club, but it genuinely was like here are just students that are going to be doing science fair projects, and they would go to like state science fair like state fairs and national science fairs and bringing their research and all that stuff. Like that's what science research was. It was genuinely just you're going to be researching something, we're going to do have like put you in competitions for that. And that teacher was more focused on that than actually teaching us our general concepts of AP Physics 1. And if they did teach us, they did not teach us well because it's straight from the textbook and it was very confusing. So it was really, that was my hard time. My first time I really had a difficult time in physics, where I'm like, God, I'm not smart enough to understand this. Why did I want to do this? It was one of the first few times where I started doubting myself about, like, is engineering something I really wanted to do? But I had already told everybody in my life, all the adults in my life, that yeah, I wanted to do engineering. I like this, but I at the time I was like, I don't think I can do this and I'm starting to hate it. But I can't back out of this now. Eventually, yeah, my grades started to improve in both those classes because they were tanking first. Yeah, they started to improve and I did decently well. And I was like, no more. I want a grade. Here's the thing about sophomore year too. I also took a Shakespeare Major's Works class during that same time, and I dreaded going to AP Physics, and I like waited with a bated breath. Like I was so excited to go to Shakespeare Major Works class because I'm like, oh yeah, Shakespeare Major Works. It's the one place where I can be an over dramatic weirdo, and nobody is going to like question me and just be like, why are you doing that? They're gonna encourage me and just to go further with it. So yeah, Shakespeare Major Works was the only like real theater class we had, and my class was the last class to actually get that. So sad, so sad. But I loved that class with my entire heart, and I hated AP Physics 1 more than anything in the world. So I'm like, okay, okay, here's what we're gonna do. That's when I started making decisions where I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'll major in the thing that everybody expects me to major in, everybody wants me to major in, which was engineering. It's a STEM thing. Nobody's gonna have to worry about me not being able to take care of myself. And I'm like, I like this enough to pursue it. But I wanted to minor in theater because that's where my heart really was. That's what I really wanted to do, which was it was theater. I'm like, I know that if I just, did theater, they would worry about me forever and it's not even a guarantee, but that's where my heart was. That's what I desperately wanted to do. So that's so when what junior years came and we started to do college fairs and whatnot, I every like every booth I went to was like, okay, you do STEM majors, you're gonna help out. And I'm like, it really helped the fact that I'm a female presenting person. A female presenting person of color at that, wanting to go into STEM. That helped out my case a lot. We're like, yeah, no, I would love to do engineering. Not really love, but I'd like to do engineering. My general thing is like, oh, if I major in engineering with you, is there a possibility of doing a minor? Cool. Do you also have theater at your school? If I wanted to major in engineering, can I possibly minor in theater? Is that a viable thing to work out in the schedule? And that was the questioning I had for every single booth I went to. They could have just been honest with me and just be like, well, you're going to be pretty, your schedule is going to be pretty full with just engineering classes. You're not going to be able to have time. I would have loved to had that honesty, but instead they're like, "Oh yeah, no, you could do it." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool. I will check that out when applications are up." Eh, Yeah, that was it. Like every school, every college fair that like every school at the college fair and whatnot that I would talk to, I was like, obviously, I have to start talking with the major that everyone was telling me I should do, which I was like, it's fine. I like it enough to pursue it. I'm never gonna fully want to do this. But here's the thing I do want to do, and the thing that I'm not telling anybody else that I'm asking about is theater. Yeah, so that's the thing. And obviously, I applied to a bunch of schools that were mostly just was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do STEM. I'm gonna be an engineer. And everybody told me that I should do civil engineering because they needed more civil engineers at the time. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do that. And I was like, yeah. I spent a long time convincing myself like, yes, this is what I want to do. But I knew deep down it wasn't. I wanted to do theater, but I it was not going to be a viable option for me according to the adults in my life. So I couldn't just do theater. So, what? Senior year, I'm getting my letters back about, whether or not I got into the school, whether I was waitlisted, or I got straight up projected. I think I got waitlisted for two of the schools that I applied to. But I got into the state school. I didn't get into their school of engineering. I got waitlisted for their school of engineering, but I got into the general admission for the state school. I applied for what? Did apply for a bunch of tech schools, and I got into most of them. One of them I got waitlisted in. Let's see. I did apply to a bunch of Ivy Leagues as well. And what? One of them I got waitlisted in, and the other one, yeah, no, I think I got waitlisted in most of the Ivy Leagues that I applied to, which was only like two. I think maybe a little, maybe more, but I don't remember. But yeah, I got waitlisted for those. So I was down to two schools. One was private, one was public. They both had offered me a decent amount of money in terms of scholarship. And I was like, oh, one of them was just here. You're only gonna get like the Bachelor of Science in Engineering. And that was the public tech school. And then the other one, the school I actually went to, it was a private Catholic university that was offering a program to do a Bachelor of Science in Physics for 3 years, and then a Bachelor of Science in Engineering for 2 years with the tech school. Yeah, the first tech school I talked about, the public one that just gave me the engineering option, straight up engineering. So I was like, okay, both are decent option. I don't know which one to choose. So my sister had told me, sorry, I'm just playing around with this. So if you want to know what I'm looking at, this is what I'm doing. So my sister told me that I had to go visit the schools to generally see how I was feeling. So, okay, I made a schedule to do open houses for both schools. So I went. Yeah, no. The first one available was the private Catholic school. That was the school my dad really wanted me to go. And I was like, yeah, he really liked that place. He liked the fact that it had Christian values and like in general, he was very much pushing me to want to like go to that school. And I made the mistake of taking him with me when I did that college tour because as soon as it was over, I said, "Yes, this is the school I'm going to go to." So we made the down payment and I was like, "Yep, here's where I'm going." And then I canceled the college tour with the tech school. So I managed to make a decision by May 1st, and I bought a hoodie from there, and I wore that on May 1st as my decision day outfit. Jeans and a hoodie. Very comfortable. Very comfortable. Yeah, and then let's see. I do have a story about some things that happened senior year. So I've already told the story of what happened on my 18th birthday. So I'm not gonna get into that again. That hurts me every time I try to talk about it. But yeah. But the general story of my 18th birthday is basically be careful with who you are friends with, because there are some people who are actual genuine friends, and there are some people who are just energy leeches and they will not care for you at all. Because if you no longer serve a purpose for them, well, they're just gonna go behind your back and hurt you. So yeah, that's now why I don't talk to those two people anymore, those energy vampires. But no, that the girl at the time, 'cause she was the one that actually actively made a decision to hurt me, and then the other one was just backing her up. But also, everybody else in the friend group was saying it's just really messed up of her to do what she did. And then finding out that, oh, he was telling, he, the guy was the one telling me that I should apologize to her, even though I did nothing wrong in the situation. Yeah, that was weird. But okay, general thing from that story is this girl is dating a guy that she met at a family reunion, found out that it was her second cousin. The parents told them to stop seeing each other, but they continued to do so anyway. And when I say seeing each other, I genuinely mean like straight up, like you know, like they were shaking the bed, rocking his truck in broad daylight in front of the damn high school during our lunch period as people are walking by. You can actually see the truck shake. You can visibly see that they were both in they were both like a mess. Their clothes were very much out of place. One, it was all over. Like, it's weird. But like, one of the longest boyfriends she ever had. Um, he actually ended up being her prom date. So yeah, I met this girl's boyfriend, who was actually her second cousin, during our prom. Yeah, the only reason we kind of kept her around is that one, I don't think she would have left anyway. But two, the guy that pretty much stood up for her and told me to apologize when I technically did nothing wrong in the situation. I didn't do anything except invite them. And then they go around and doing the things they did. Well, she goes around doing the things she does, and somehow I have to apologize for that. Yeah, he was still good friends with another one of the people in that group, in our friend group, who the general reason why they're still friends is because that guy who's still in the friend group just doesn't actively try to like keep up with people, but also actively stay friends with people. It's a weird thing. He's just like, if we're friends now, great, and if we stay friends, great, and if not, oh well, I'm not gonna do anything about it. Like a very passive human being. But yeah, they were still friends, so she still hung around as because like mutual friends. I don't think either of them knew that the dynamic shifted. That Just we're no longer including them. No longer including them. But she was the one that decided, hey, let's rent out a limousine to take let's rent out a limousine that'll drive us to prom. And that's it. Just driving to prom, but no way of getting home. We had to figure out how to get home in a different way. So he did all the research about the limousine, and we're like, oh, okay. It was like, here's the amount of money. I think it was $60 per person, and it was 10 people. Not even 10, because including her and her boyfriend. So it's about 10 people in the limousine, and 60 per person. So it's not bad. It's not bad. So we gave the money to her. She rented out the limousine, and we met up at the park nearby all of our houses. We were all dressed up to go to prom. Had our bags. That's the first time I had met her boyfriend slash cousin. And I'm like, huh, you both look extremely alike. Like I can see the family resemblance. And I'm like, he's not really that cute. I'm like, you decided to do all the things you did for some dick, and I'm like, you couldn't even make sure the guy like looked appealing. I guess this is my opinion personally, but I'm like, oh, I don't really think he's that cute. But I'm like, I see the family resemblance. I strongly see it. But I'm like, okay, your life, whatever you'd like to do. Um, we all get in. We were taking pictures. Did not take. I don't think we took any pictures with her while we were at the park. But the limo came. We all got in. Said goodbye to our parents who dropped us off. And like the rest of us were actively talking and like making plans and doing stuff. And I don't think we actually talked to her and him like at all. I don't think we actually talked to either of them the whole night. But we all got it. Like we got there. It was like cocktail hour of sorts, and so what they had free Shirley Temples for us. I really liked that, and it was in like an actual jug that you could just like push the button and the liquid would come out like in those juice jugs things. That's where we had it. So I'm like, free stuff for prom, cool. Now I wore really high heels that I bought originally for my birthday, my 18th birthday. So I also wore it to prom. They were really high, and I did not take the time to like sandpaper the bottom of them, so they were like slippery. So it was hard for me to walk in them. Like tall, slippery heels was not going well. But I'm like, oh, I'm finally tall enough so that my dress does not pool around me on the floor. And like I'm finally considered average height in these heels. They're like platform stilettos. I don't know where they are, but I'm pretty sure I still have them. But yeah, I actually had to use a friend. I'm like, I had a friend who decided to help me out anytime I had to like walk anywhere. So I'm like, oh my god, like you could see I was like, oh god, how do I move? And they're like, you know what? Take our arms, and I'm just gonna hold on to you, friend, so I could walk everywhere. So I referred to him as my walking cane for that whole night. But yeah, it was fun. Oh man, I also here's the thing. I was also sick during that week leading up to prom, and it was not really like sick, but like I was coughing and I genuinely couldn't breathe a lot of the time, so it was really difficult for me to like do anything because I was like, stuff like that. It was really difficult. Did not know what was wrong with me. I tried to go see my normal pediatrician at the time, like Thursday, but by the time me and my dad got there, and again, it was raining, so it was really hard for us to find parking for us to go there. But like by the time we got to the office, it was just closing and they wouldn't see me. They wouldn't let us in to see me. And my dad got really mad because I'm like, "Can't you hear her? Can't you see that she's really needs you? Can't you make an exception and just stay open like at least 5 minutes, let the doctor see her?" And like he got mad, so we changed doctors that day for me. I was like, they wouldn't see me. They wouldn't let us in. But like they could see I was having a difficult time breathing. I could barely stand up straight and just breathe. It was bad. I did not know what was happening. So Friday comes. Right. Friday comes, go to school, still having dealing with this, and I'm like, chest hurts, can't breathe, coughing, and I'm just like, wheezing. Just did not know what was wrong with me, and we went to see a different doctor that day. And I was like, I really want to go to prom, and I was gonna go to prom regardless of whatever was happening. But like, I was like, I want to make sure I'm having fun, like I have a good time. I really need to make sure this doctor sees me. So we see the new doctor. That's a little bit closer to our house than the first one, the original. Turns out I it's just like asthma. Like I was a really bad as like reactions to the environment around me, and it was triggering my asthma that I did not realize I still had. I thought I got over it. So I'm like, I had asthma. I developed asthma when I was in sixth grade, so like 11, 12 years old. And here I am at like 18. I assumed I got over it because I'm like, I never really had another asthma attack since then, but I'm like, I was genuinely very careful, did not try to push myself as much in gym, but I was like, I'm gonna tell my gym teachers that I have asthma anyway, even though I'm not entirely sure. I never had like a serious asthma attack in a long time. I'm gonna tell them I have asthma, just so like I don't have to try as hard as everybody else. So, nope. Turns out it was it, my asthma was coming back with a force. So they just they prescribed me an asthma pump. I was able to get it the same day, and yeah, I had to bring the pump with me when I went to prom. Yeah, I had to bring the pump with me when I went to prom, so it was just there in my bag with extra shoes and like obviously my wallet, my keys, and my phone, and you know some generally just like lipstick, lip gloss, just for touch ups. That's it. So my dad did my makeup and hair. I did not do my. I did not do it. Cause like don't really know how to do makeup, but my dad has some idea. So I'm like, just some basics. I think I look pretty. Actually, do I have pictures of me at my prom? I probably do on my phone somewhere, but I'm like, do I have them? I should have them. I'm gonna find it. I'ma get you. I'ma get you. Okay. Okay. I'ma get you. Wait, do wait. Honestly, whoop, whoop, where is a good prom picture of me? Just me. Here's a prom picture of me in my house. There's 3 prom pictures of me in my house. That's it. I'm just gonna focus on me. That. Oh my god. Yeah, that's me in my prom dress. Um, here's the thing. So I had dyed hair when I was like junior, senior. So I had the tips of my hair dyed. I dyed my hair at home. It was green actually. It was supposed to be blue, but me and my sister messed up the coloring that it ended up green, and I didn't mind. So I had green tips for a few, like a good year. Obviously, my hair grew out and the color faded, so I just had blonde tips by the end. And even in my like senior portraits, I still had the blonde tips. But I was like, I'm getting really tired of the length. I really don't want to wear this. I really don't want this anymore. So, God. Hmm. What is this? Okay. I'm seeing weird pictures that I have on here, so I'm just deleting some of them. But yeah, so I had blonde tips. I was getting really tired of the length and I wanted to cut it off. So I did. I got my hair cut just where the tips were. So my hair was still long, but I really wanted to get rid of the blonde tips. So I cut off the blonde tips. I still had long hair, so I put my hair up. My dad and I decided to braid my hair and then just put it up in a bun right here, right? So it was gonna generally just gonna look like that. That was my hairstyle. And then for makeup, just like what pink lipstick and then some eyeshadow and like mascara. That was it. The dress that I wore to prom was actually a backup dress for my 18th birthday because I wasn't sure if that dress was coming in on time. That I bought off of Amazon and it was backless, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun time trying to figure out how on earth do I wear a bra with a backless dress. Oh, bend the strap and pin like safety pin the hell out of the back. It was an interesting time. It was an interesting time. I don't know if I still fit that dress. I do want to find out though. But yeah, that was a fun time. I had to use a friend to walk around in those heels. Eventually, I got tired of those heels, so I ended up just switching over to my extra shoes, which was just my flats. Um, God, me and my friend group took up a whole table, and then that girl and her cousin slash boyfriend were there over on this, just also at the table, and like sat right across from me. So like anytime I looked up, I was like, ah, jump scare. It's you two. Huh? But yeah, it was. I have a lot of like I don't know if I have a lot, but I have some videos of the night. It was a lot of fun. I loved prom. So our prom decorations, I didn't even know if we had a theme, but our prom decorations was generally just balloons with some like gold confetti on the inside, and that was like our centerpieces. And the thing that happened, like a lot of us ended up on the dance floor, so we were all dancing a lot of the time. And then when the food came out, we were still out dancing. Or at least if we didn't finish our food, we would be on the dance floor and that would be there. What happened was some of those balloons actually ended up popping. I think because like a lot of us was it was very much like a club vibe with the music and the DJ that we had. Whereas like dark room, strobe lights, and just a bunch of teenagers jumping and dancing like crazy. So I think the vibrations of all of that combined ended up popping some of the balloons. So the like confetti on the inside, like the gold glittery confetti on the inside, actually ended up in some of the food. So we couldn't actually eat it anymore after that. So that had to be taken away. Um. Oh yeah, and the general thing about us, especially like my class, or at least anyone who went to my high school, our general nickname was nerds. Well, actually, our nicknames were the McNerds because the name of our high school was like Mick something. It was named after an astronaut. I think like an astronaut that was a teacher that died in the Challenger. I don't remember the full thing, but I'm not gonna also give you the name because it is very specific and it very much pinpoints where I am, and I don't want to share that due to privacy reasons. Yeah, we were called the McNerds, so I'm like, yeah, we were generally like yes, we can get rowdy and we can have fun, but like generally we're a very nerdy group of people. Like our idea of fun was on Pi Day, March 14th. During our lunch periods, whoever we had a competition. This is an official competition of who can recite the most digits of pi. And whoever won during those two lunch periods would like get a sticker. And my senior year, actually, for our AP calculus teacher, actually like took us on a field trip after school to go to the Museum of Math on Pi Day. Yeah. March 14th, 2019, I went to the Museum of Math in New York. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. Because it was very much like, it. Obviously, it's a lot of math concepts that you get to see visually, but it felt more like a kid's playground that just so happens to be a basis in math theory, which was really cool. So I'm like, oh, I can touch this, I can play with this stuff. Like there's literally just a chair that you sit in that just spins you around. And that is an actual mathematic concept. That was a whole exhibit that you can play with. So yeah, that was our idea of fun. So I'm like, wow. When I found out in prom, especially seeing those balloons pop and then just seeing the confetti, but get all over the table, get into the food that was still on the table before the servers had taken it away. I was like, wow, for a bunch of nerds, we party hard. And then what? Our hmm, we had a dessert table at prom, and it was outside of the ballroom, and it was like kind of a pick your own, like a make your own dessert table, but it was like an ice cream sundae thing, but it had a bunch of different desserts and candies and whatnot. Loved that. And then we had a photo booth off to the side that had props. I don't know if I think I definitely went in the photo booth at least once. But generally overall, any pictures that we did take, we just took it on our phone. But yeah, I think we could also send some of those pictures from the photo booth to your email. So yeah. But that was prom. I ended up getting a ride home with my cousin who was dropping off her friend who also happened to live near me. I was like, we're not that far away from each other. Cool. Yeah, that was prom night. Senior trip. Our senior trip, I think, is what was interesting for me anyway. Hey, haven't you asked this question before? I feel like I've definitely seen this for like hidden talents. Sorry. For some reason, I had soda earlier and it's still like badly affecting me. So, acid reflux and anything acidic is not a fun thing. But yeah, I feel like I've been. Have you asked this question of like I've got any hidden talents? Hmm. See, now that you've mentioned it, now I can't stop burping, which is fun. I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm going insane. Oh yeah, no. My senior trip, I lost my phone at Hershey Park, and I ended up crying the whole time. Like, yes, I still did stuff on that senior trip, but around like lunchtime, I figured out I lost my phone. Had to go back to Lost and Found so many times, but they never found anything. Never found my phone. I always had to stay with a friend so that they could actually figure out where the hell I was and they could find a way of like making sure I was okay and contacting me. But there was one time where I was left alone by myself because the friend that I was with actually left me alone by accident. That was when I sobbed even harder because I'm like, no one cares. No one wants to find me. I used to be able to cry on command. So that time was interesting to say the least. I don't know if I can still cry on command. I think I have to make myself really sad, but I think I could still do it. Yeah. Yeah, no, when I was younger, I actually would be able to cry on command. Like I could turn on the waterworks anytime I need be. I would just have to like start thinking about really sad things and just being like "Hmm." And it would just be like full on sobbing tears. Like my whole face would be wet. I don't know if I could still do that now. I could always try. But also I'm not gonna lie, majority of the time since I've graduated from college, I've cried myself to sleep. So I don't think I want to try to cry on command anymore. But yeah, I used to be able to do that. Oh my god, you just made me remember like I things I've learned from my parents. I learned how to do emotional manipulation of adults. So, yeah, whenever I forgot to do something for classes or like I was really freaked out about something, I would suddenly start crying. I would make everybody uncomfortable. I would make the teacher feel bad for me that they're like, "Oh, it's okay. You can just hand it in tomorrow." Obviously, the only points, but I'm like, in general, I would just start sobbing on a dime. It made everybody so uncomfortable. And yet, I wonder why they called me over dramatic. I would just be able to cry like that. But Tadpole 73, you just made me remember this. Thank you. Are you actually following? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah. Yeah, you are. But no, you made me remember I could cry on command. Just so suddenly and so many tears. I haven't tried to do that since. But like, yeah. God, I don't even remember how many times I did that. No wonder I was like my parents especially would always make me like drink so much water anytime I started crying out of nowhere. Yes, I had a lot of emotional moments when I was a kid and like was not actually ever supported in any sort of way. I was just told to be like there's no reason for you to do it, just suck it up. Like how dare you start crying? And then in general it's just be like stop your crying, shut up. Like drink water, you'll stop crying. I know when I was younger, I also, in order to like stop myself from crying, I actually was like, I have to be able to control my breathing in order to make sure I stop crying and don't start again. So I'm gonna do something really weird. This is what I do. Yes, I would, in order to control my breathing to make sure I would stop crying whenever I did this, I would choke myself so I could regulate my breathing. I was a weird kid. I had a lot of emotions that I was never supported in any of that. So now, as an adult, I still don't know how to regulate my own emotions. So who knows? Maybe I still be able to cry on command. But yeah, no, I remember full on sobbing majority of the day in Hershey Park for my senior trip. And especially the one time I was left alone and I had started a really bad mental spiral until eventually all of my friends came and found. Yeah, no, somebody found me and like got me to all of my friends, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna try to help you as best as you can," because they also went back and forth to the lost and found. Eventually, we had to leave, we couldn't stay there forever, and we never found my phone again. Luckily, somebody in that friend group also let me borrow their phone so I could call my dad so he could pick me up. Because we got back at like midnight on us. So yeah, it was rough, buddy. That whole weekend I had to stay with my dad. So I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't go anywhere because he would not be able to contact me or find me. I did get a new phone. It's now the phone I currently have. Yeah. Oh my god, this phone is 5 years old. Yeah, the phone that I got as a replacement for the phone I lost is still the same phone I'm using today. Wow, that's a fun realization to have right here and there. Ah, man, that's oof, oof. Okay, it's okay. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of am running out of things to talk about, but also my mind is just blanking at the moment, so I think I'm getting too tired to really continue stream right now. So thank you all guys. Thank you guys, all of you, for coming to the stream today. I really do appreciate all your support. Thank you. Thank you for getting us to, here we go, 17 followers, making us hit our first follower goal, which was our roller coaster TED Talk at the beginning of the stream. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate you. Love y'all. Let's see if we can try to hit 25 followers now. Oh man, 25. It's only 8 away. So if you haven't already and you enjoyed what we've done here, please hit the hot follow button. If you're watching over on YouTube land, thank you. And if you enjoyed this whole stream, please like and subscribe to the channel. Um, if you enjoyed me and enjoyed what we've done here, I do have other social media accounts. You can follow me over on TikTok. It's Kai_omai. I mess around with filters. I do shopping hauls. I also do mystery pin unboxings, and just mystery box stuff because I like collecting weird things. Follow me over on Instagram. I mostly just post about my Funko Pop collection. It's Funkos_omai on Instagram. I do occasionally repost some stuff from TikTok if you aren't already following me there. Let's see. Obviously, YouTube, my YouTube people, it's Kai_omai as well. I think I've also linked that in chat. So that's also there. I mostly post I've mostly just been posting VODs from the stream over on YouTube, so there's that. And then, let's see. If you're feeling a little spicy, I do have a Tumblr. It's Kai-omai. It's mostly just me fangirling about QSMP because I'm a big fan, but I haven't been on there in months, so again, if you're feeling spicy, you can see what I've said there, but it is a lot of me reposting shit. And obviously, here, Twitch, Kai_omai. We have fun. I am just a chronically online nerd that's just trying to do their best. That is me. To a T. But that's all for now. Thank you all for coming. Done I've done all the stuff I needed to do. Right, yeah, I've done the stuff I needed to do. So, I'm going to hit you guys out with some music for this outro. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I love y'all. Anyway, I'm gonna transition over to music, so bye, chat. I love y'all. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm finally gonna I'm gonna get back to playing some games. I have Deltarune downloaded on this laptop, so been wanting to play it, so we're gonna play. We're gonna play some Deltarune tomorrow, chapter 1 and 2, because it's free. But also, I really like the art style of Deltarune. I think it's a really cool concept. And apparently, like, Deltarune is for people who have played Undertale, and unfortunately, I haven't played Undertale. But I know the general storyline, and I know the different routes in there. I personally, I think I would have done a pacifist run in Undertale, So I'm gonna see if I can also do a pacifist run in Deltarune. But we'll see how it goes. That's tomorrow, so yeah. I'm like, I always struggle to do outros, and I don't know why. It's literally just, thank you all for coming. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please follow. There should be some other stuff showing up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube land, there should be some stuff showing up on screen for other things I've done, etc. Words, English. Anyway, yeah, it's getting late for me over here. I'm tired. Brain is starting to be broken and just not working. So I'm gonna transition you guys over to music. So see you guys tomorrow. We're playing I'm gonna try to play Deltarune tomorrow. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. It's fine.